What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Apologies. We are just a smidge late. A smidge late. You know what it is? Technical gremlins. Technical gremlins. It's what it is. I can already see the people. People saying that it's Mr. Reliable's late. I know. Victor, Mr. Reliable's late. I know. Do you know what it is? I'll be completely transparent. It's because we had this different layout that we wanted to use today, and it didn't work. So we're using the old settings for this one, which means that 45 minutes DJ will disappear. That's what it will be. Hey. That's what it will be.
Hey, I'm undefeated.
But look, guys, we're celebrating a good result here. Manchester United, or should we say Tottenham 0, Manchester United 3. DJ, what did you make of that? What did you make of that performance?
It was a drastic change from Oli in terms of formation. I think some of us did predict that, but I think it was much needed to save what's little left of his Manchester United managerial career. But in saying that, I did think that, weirdly enough, this suits us. It does suit us a little bit better with the players that we do have. We looked very solid today. And again, this is probably the first time we've played it in over, they were saying, I think 18 months or something like that.
Yeah, so, pretty much since the pandemic, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if that's the first time in 18 months, it kind of leads us to be a little bit optimistic for the future and what's coming. I want to see it tested against maybe a few more potent teams. I think Man City will test us the best, maybe even Atalanta. But yeah, positive result. Very, very, very good result for the team. Seems very balanced. A few key players really stood out for me today. But I'm sure we'll get into it. But yeah, overall good performance, looks solid.
Yeah, it was one of those games whereby, look, I mean, I'm obviously thrilled Manchester United won because I always want Manchester United to win. I know, obviously, there's been lots of speculation about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager, the management, potential people coming in. We kind of joked about it on the match view that Ollie maybe heard the rumors about Conte coming in. When I can be Conte, I'll do Conte myself. I'll play it 3 at the back. I'll do it myself. And maybe it was a bit like that. But look, a 3-0 win's 3-0 win. I think that it can't be ignored that Spurs were shocking. They were really, really, really poor. I mean, we were just chatting whilst we were trying to figure out how to work this technology. But we were chatting saying that, that might be it for Nuno because they were that bad. I mean, it kind of was like, and it's not the same because it's still losing 5-0 at home to our arch rivals in Liverpool. But it was almost a bit like, from the Spurs fans' point of view, it felt like, deja vu a little bit, didn't it? Right? Seeing fans leave, booing, all that kind of stuff. What did you think of? Do you think it's more of a case of United played really well, or do you think that Spurs' performance does come into that, in that they were poor today?
Yeah, I think I think the answer to that question is both. I think both really did play a part. I think the funniest thing is when we've played teams in the last couple of weeks and we've played extremely poor, it's been more so attributed to the other team, how well they are. They've come to Man United to try and get a point and they're playing well. So I think we can't really sort of count ourselves out. I think today is the time to be a bit confident and boastful in that performance and say, yeah, we actually controlled the game. We forced them into so many errors. They had nothing for us. We were difficult to break down. And you see how I've just spun the narrative now. It makes us actually sound, that we actually controlled the game, which we did for large parts of that. Spurs looked very toothless today, very toothless. There was hardly anything. They had a couple of half chances, but otherwise than that, United were all over them. I didn't think they played particularly well either, but I think we can kind of attribute that to our new formation, how we set up. They weren't expecting that.
What did you think of the formation when it came out, or the team selection when it came out? Because obviously, as soon as you see Maguire, Varane, Lindelof, you go, well, it's a back 3, back 5. So what was your thought on that? And also, I mean, look, I'm not one of these people, I'm going to pat myself on the back all the time because that's just,
You did. I know what you're going to say.
Right? Who cares? But, all I'm going to say is, and by the way, KG was refusing to give me credit on the match view. He was like, no, it wasn't Owen. Owen never said it. I said it first. I was like, KG. We've fallen out a couple of times. We're going to fall out again. I'm telling you, we're going to fall out again. That's for tomorrow. That's for tomorrow's show. But I've been saying time and time again, you've got Ronaldo, you've got Cavani, get them both in the team.
Yeah.
Find a way. Find a way. Get your best players into a side. What does Sir Alex say? You start your best players.
Start your
That's what
best
you do.
players. Yeah.
It's not mutually exclusive. It's not Ronaldo or Cavani. Like the gifts. Why not both? Why not
Yeah.
both? You know, you've
Yeah.
got these players. Why not both? So, what did you think of the back five, and what did you think of starting Ronaldo and Cavani together?
Well, when I first saw the team, saw formation, saw the team,
You
and
weren't happy, actually.
I wasn't happy. I wasn't
You
happy
weren't
because
happy.
I literally looked at it and I went, "Oh, so we're playing literally just a back seven and a front three." Because obviously, with McFred added into sort of that back five, that's 7 outfield defensive players. Like I'm like, Jesus, what are we trying to like secure Alcatraz or something? Like 7 defensive players. I thought if we're gonna go with 7 defensive players, we can surely at least drop one of the McFred pivot and add in, dare I say, a Donny van der Beek or someone who's a little bit attacking from the middle,
Don't
just
even
to,
speak his name,
I
DJ.
know, right? Someone to sort of like supplement Bruno, because I thought if Tottenham would have been able to sort of isolate Bruno, then potentially a lot of United's attacks, unless from the wings, would have come through. And I was unhappy to see that many outfield defensive players, because again, if we're going to kind of talk about Manchester United, we're not really, that's not really us. But I think at the beggars can't be choosers right now. So I kind of understood why Ollie wanted extra insurance on the pitch today. It was a must-win game for him, for his career, and for us. Comfortable 3 points in the end. But going forward, and this and this is not me being negative, guys. It's just a question. It's just a question. We've bought some amazing attacking talent: Rashford, Greenwood, Sancho, Pogba when he comes back off suspension, Martial still here. Ollie still has to find a way to incorporate those players into a team. Now, most of those players do not get into this starting 11 in this system, in my opinion. I can't see Sancho playing up top. And if he did, it would have to be quite like a very wide two. So again, I think right now he's going to steady the ship, which is the right thing to do. But going forward, again, he's going to have to sort of tactically sort something out, because we need to start incorporating going forward Greenwood. Cavani's not going to be here forever, so Greenwoods and your Sanchos and your Rashfords. So yeah.
M. Shah says, "What was the positives about today's game? Owen? Positives is that we won. Positive is that we won. Other positives is that we have found a way to play Ronaldo and Cavani together. I think another positive is that we kept a clean sheet, which is our second in over 20 games.
Mm-hmm.
Those are positives. Again, I don't think it can be, and I'm not saying this to put down the performance by United. I'm not saying this to put down the 3 points or anything like that. You can't overlook that Spurs were shocking. They really, really, really were poor. And it was hardly a hostile atmosphere that Man United had to go into either. I mean, that's a state-of-the-art, brand new stadium. They've even tried to patent one of the stands after the big yellow wall in Germany at Dortmund, because they want to have that atmosphere. United looked very comfortable, especially in the second half. But I don't think you can overlook that. You mentioned it was a must-win game. We'll get to these super chats in a second, but you mentioned it was a must-win game. Does it change anything, though, in your eyes? Does it change anything? And I don't mean that again to be negative, but I mean that as we win today. What if we lose to Atalanta and City? Does it realistically change anything?
Yeah, I think if we go back to sort of like what we were saying at the start of last month, we looked at these upcoming fixtures. I think it might have been 7 or 9 fixtures that were really, really tough on the bounce, including the European games. And I thought we all kind of agreed that if Ollie can get through this period, in like positively, it'd be a massive positive for the team and for him. It's gone really, really bad through the last couple of weeks from our performances and the results. But I do think that it's not really going to change much. I think United board have kind of made their mind up. I'd hope, anyways, because I'm Ollie out, and I'm not afraid to say it, guys. I do think he's reached his ceiling with this team. However, I also think that performance, and maybe a very good performance against Atalanta, carry that momentum over to Man City and maybe even beat Man City with this system. There may be seeds planted in that board at Manchester United where 1 or 2 people, such as your Woodward, might be saying, hang on, he's done well in the last 3 games. We gave him 3-game ultimatum. But I think ultimately the international break will be the do or die. We'll find out 100% by then what's going on.
There'll be seeds planted because City lost as well today. So the Man United players will be like, oh, you never know, actually. They're not coming in good form, all this kind of stuff. Super chat from Mason Patrick says, I still need to be starting Donny, but go on, lads. We don't speak Donny's name. Don't he who shall not be named.
It's
Because he's just not
difficult.
going to play.
It's difficult. It is so difficult.
Super chat from Salted Caramel says, we won, but I'm still Ollie out. It's the same players, same set of players again, and Ollie hasn't changed. Maybe the bench FC doesn't cooperate with Ollie. Well, I don't think you could argue that Ollie hasn't changed. He played a different formation. I mean, that's technically is changed. Same set of players. Yeah, that's a fair criticism, one could argue. Did you necessarily expect Eric Bailly to play today, though, or Donny van der Beek to play today? I think in our heart of hearts, didn't expect to see that. I was pleasantly surprised to see that he switched formation. I know some people have their opinions on the back five or a back three, and they think it's defensive, etc., etc. Make no mistake, Ollie played it because he realised that we need more people behind the ball than we did last weekend because we're just shipping goals at the moment. Yeah. But like you said, does it really change anything? No, I don't think it does. But the reason I say that is because, like I said, I think if you go to Atalanta on Tuesday and you lose, massive pressure. I think if you lose against Man City, again, the real pressure is going to be on. And I don't want to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, fine margins. But at this point, it is very much on a knife edge because it can really go one of two ways, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's really tough. Speaking of the back three, though, of course, Rafael Varane was back today. Just what a difference does he make to Manchester United? I mean, what do you think of his performance?
Oh, such a difference, man. He's just so like head and shoulders above everybody in that back line. I'm not gonna lie, he's wonderful to watch. Wonderful to watch. He's composed. He gets physical when he needs to. He makes the right decisions a lot of the time. Great pass with the ball. He's quick. Good spring when he jumps into the air. You know what I mean? Like an amazing player, man. So made a huge difference, brought that composure, and you kind of saw, the rest of the defense sort of feed off that. They sort of upped their game today. We're going to get into sort of maybe individual kind of performances, but I saw a lot of guys out there that played shockingly in the last couple of weeks, up their game today. And yeah, Spurs were poor, but you can only play what's in front of you, and they did an amazing job today.
I thought Varane, I mentioned this before, that kind of every centre-back we have, or that Ollie plays, because I don't even think you can fairly include Eric Bailly in there because he just doesn't play. But every centre-back that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer plays makes the other centre-back look better. Yeah. In the sense that Victor Lindelof, when he plays, you go, I tell you what, he makes Harry Maguire look good. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then when Rafael Varane plays, he goes, he makes Harry Maguire look pretty crap. Because you realize there are levels. Yeah, like levels. There's no coincidence that Varane came back in today in that back three. He's not on the left and the right. He's in the middle, right? Because he's, you've got Maguire maybe as your captain. Rafael Varane's in charge of that defense. 100% Rafael Varane. He's calling the shots in that defense. Harry Maguire can flail his arms and all this kind of stuff and go up to the referee, because he's got the captain's armband, and go up to him and be like, guys, I have the conversation because I'm the captain. All that kind of stuff. Rafael Varane is organising that defense. 100%. and even at spells, it was shaky. Again, I don't think Harry Maguire played particularly well either today. Again, I think it was a really poor Spurs performance. If Harry Kane is on Harry Kane form, I would have been really concerned. But Harry Kane, I don't know what's happened to him at all. Like, he has just fallen off the edge of a cliff since the Euros, and especially since over the summer, all that kind of stuff. It's almost like he's trying to drive the value down. It's like, I was too expensive. Maybe if I have a crap 6 months, then maybe I can go down in terms of valuation. I don't know, but he was really poor. What I do want to talk about, we'll talk about the goals. That first goal, Cristiano Ronaldo, I mean, just I am not having that people can still say like, oh, past it, or what does he offer to the team? Guy scores goals.
He does. And you know what? I think a lot of the fan base and a lot of the pundits and a lot of other fans from other teams, they're still thinking it's Cristiano from 2009 Real Madrid, 2010 Real Madrid. Like, a different player. He's more of an in-the-box player. Can still dribble, but that's sort of like his power. I always say his powers are waning a little bit in terms of his dribbling and the silky skills he used to do. He used to run 20, 30 yards with the ball. Not that guy anymore. But what he will give you is the movement in the box and finishing ability. And we saw that first class hand today. Brilliant ball over the top by Bruno, brilliant. And again, it's just them two again. It's the Portuguese. What did the commentators say? Man of war, like our Portuguese men of war, like literally them two. For me, they're captain and vice captain in my eyes. I think if they was given the captaincy, they could drive this United team to another level. I do believe that they're doing it anyway. But yeah, Ronaldo in the box, unmatched. He's just unmatched. And again, we've seen that. And I'm going to mention Cavani as well. I'll give him a shout out. Again, we saw beautiful finish. Just beautiful finish. The link up play between them was good because I was actually worrying about there not being enough legs in. That sound like Ollie. Legs in terms of attacking because Cavani and Ronaldo, they're not the fastest strikers in the world. And I was just thinking, well, if Bruno gets marked out the game, how are we going to feed the ball to them? But it didn't really matter today. They took their chance as well.
Super chat from Jason says, for me, he played Vicky. I'm assuming he's saying Victor Lindelof at right back and Wan-Bissaka at right wing. What did you think of Wan-Bissaka as a right wing back? I actually thought, I tell you what, like it's one of the better games I've seen him have in a while. Like I still think there are massive issues that again, I don't want to turn this into a negative Nelly. That I think that he had a real top quality coach. For me, I was watching that game going, man, if you had a good coach there, like you could coach Wan-Bissaka into a top quality wing back. You know what I mean? Because he's got those attributes about him. Does he need to improve his final ball in the box? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But he's got it about him. There's no doubt about it. What do you think of his performance today?
Yeah, I think just to sort of echo what you said, just off the back of his performance today, I was very, very impressed with him. Very impressed with him. He stood out to me today because everyone's been really critical of, is he this attacking right wing back? And today I've seen one of the best performances for me, attacking performances, I'll say, that I've seen from him today. He was up and down, he was stopping tackles, I think wing back does suit him, it looks like. And I can see where he still can improve. But what today showed me is that, as you're right. If another manager was to come in with a little bit more experience that can coach him, it looks like he can definitely be coached to reach another level. And if he can ever get to that next level, he's going to be amazing. He'll be amazing. So, very good performance from Wan-Bissaka. I was impressed.
Yeah, I agree. I was impressed by Wan-Bissaka. I thought he played very well. You mentioned Cavani there. Obviously, he gets the second goal. And
yes.
Again, I'm not going to hammer it home because I think just go watch the other videos. Go watch the other videos. That's all I say. That's all I say. Go watch the other videos, right? Because I've been saying for the longest time to get Cavani and Ronaldo into the same side. You play your best players. You find a way. You find a system. And I know that, and you mentioned it earlier on, I know that for any tactical system you want to implement, people are going to have to be casualties of it. They're going to They're going to have to. Whether it is like Sancho's on the bench and Rashford was on the bench and Greenwood's on the bench, because when you play a back 5-3, whatever you want to call it, those sort of wide players, your Rashfords, your Sanchos, they don't fit.
Yeah.
They really don't fit. And I know that I saw some people saying, "Oh, you spent 75 million, you've got Jadon Sancho on the bench still, and all this kind of stuff." I agree with you, because you do look at that and you go, right, if you're not going to play that system for the remainder of the season, Jadon Sancho might struggle for games. He really might, because he doesn't fit. He doesn't fit in that system. And that does scream of a lack of like long-term planning, or a lack of we thought the 4-2-3-1 was going to work and it didn't. All that kind of stuff. It's true. Absolutely, it's true. But that's no surprise. Man United don't have long-term planning. No shit. That's the reason they've still got Oli as the manager. You know what I mean? So going back to that with Sancho not playing, how do you see like Sancho's future like in this United team going forward? Where does he fit? Or is it just a case of in games like today, he probably won't play? Maybe they'll go back to 4-2-3-1 in other games. Or I mean, where does he fit? How does he fit into?
I just personally think a better manager will be able to find the solution. I think, don't get me wrong, it's a very tough question to answer because with Sancho, he's a very sort of particular type of player. He likes it to feet. He likes to do most of his work in front of the back four, and he's a creator of chances. But as you said, with this formation, he won't get a look in. I can't imagine him playing against their central defender in the striker position. It's just not going to work. we would have to eventually go to a 4-3-3, I believe, for him to be catered. Um, but in this moment of time, it's all about sort of moments. Well, he's not going to do that. He's seen that this works. He's going to ride this formation as long as he can until United tell him to leave or whatever. But yeah, we may not see Sancho for a little while. We may not see him for a little while, especially that Ronaldo and Cavani are going to now. They're the senior players, man. They're the big men, so they're gonna, unless there's
And
injuries.
they should play. They should
Of
play.
course,
You can't
of
argue.
course, of course, of course. I think if Sancho's left out and say Greenwood and Rashford were playing, Martial were playing, then I would be a little bit more worried. But when you're looking at the bench and you're seeing Rashford's not even getting on, Greenwood's not getting on, Martial's not getting on, Donny's not getting on, and Sancho's not getting on, it doesn't sound as bad. You can kind of justify it a little bit in terms of, yeah, we've done a complete system change. And yeah, I think we need to adopt another formation that implements our wingers.
I think the way that Ollie might look at it, and because you saw this when Rashford came on and obviously got his goal, I think he might look at it going, look, Greenwood and Rashford were on the bench. They can play as a striker.
Yeah,
Martial can play
can
as a
play as a
striker. So
striker.
he's thinking, well, if I'm going to play two strikers up front, those other players, they can kind of play as strikers. So I can get them into that formation because
Yeah,
they want to play up front. I can kind of do that. Sancho would be my concern because he doesn't fit. He
yeah,
doesn't fit
he
in that
really
situation.
doesn't
Like
fit.
when, like you saw it when even like Lingard, he does fit because he came on for, was it for Bruno?
For Bruno, yeah.
Oh, eventually he came on. He can kind of be in like a 10 sort of position.
hmm
I look
hmm
at Sancho and I just say, like, where does he fit?
Yeah.
Like I don't see where he fits there unless, like we were saying, it's
hmm
just other formations for other games. But I agree with you. I think he's going to look at this result. And in fairness, if he won this game, he won this game 3-0. If he goes to Atalanta on Tuesday and then goes back to 4-2-3-1 and we lose 3-0, everyone would be like, you idiot. You won
Yeah,
the
of
game at the
course,
weekend.
of
You,
course,
you
of
won the
course.
game at the weekend. Why would you change that?
Yeah.
So again, I look at it going, I don't. Sanchez suddenly become like a 75 million pound problem in the sense, like, how do we fit him in? How do we
Yeah,
fit him
but
into the squad?
that's for me, that's Ollie's fault. We chased this man for 2 years, Owen. I mean, we chased him
Yeah,
for 2 years,
100%.
spent 75, was it 73, 75 million on him. And then now we've changed the system, and now he's the odd man out. It's looking like he is definitely the odd man out. At least with the other three young players that you mentioned, they're quite diverse in terms of their kind of wing forwards that can play striker also. Sancho cannot play striker. I have heard rumors he can play number 10. I've heard him say
Yeah,
he
that's
can
what
play
some
number
people are
10.
saying here, saying maybe a possible number 10. I
Yeah,
could possibly, yeah. Some
I
people are
could
saying
see him
Sancho
as,
played 10 at Dortmund.
yeah, I could see
Maybe.
him maybe sort of like how kind of Hazard used to play, used to kind of drift in very centrally,
Yeah.
and affect the game like that. But again, it's going to take a good manager to implement that. And
Well,
this is where,
and so you're saying, so Sancho can play a 10. If we say Sancho can play a 10, who does that mean ain't going to play a 10? Bruno Fernandes, who
right.
gets assists
So
today. So
again, and
again, ask
and
Donny
this
van de Beek how that's working out.
exactly, and that's why I'll say it again. I just think that Ollie, he's reached his ceiling. You've got all these players now, and it's just quite sad to be fair because Sancho came into a 4-2-3-1 thinking, yeah, I'll play left, right. He can play left or right. There's two options there. Those two options are now been taken from you. You don't even got those two options no more. Maybe you could play. Maybe you could play him up front, but maybe tucks in. I don't know, but for 73 million, he shouldn't be sitting on the bench. Shouldn't be
But
sitting on the
make no
bench for me
mistake. I
anyway.
mean, and I think about this not into wanting to be too negative. I would prefer to be having this conversation of being like, how do you fit Jadon Sancho into the team, as opposed to we just lost 5-0. Like, holy shit! Like, what the
Exactly.
hell was that? You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
But I think it is a conversation worth having, definitely. As I mentioned, Rashford came on, got his goal. What did you think of Rashford's little cameo at the end of the game? Did you see the
Yeah.
tackle he did, by the way? My
Yeah.
God. He was lucky. He was lucky. He
He,
was lucky. That could have gone
he,
really
he
badly
tried
for him.
the whole my head,
Yeah.
I'm hurt too kind of thing. He tried that. Very
Yeah.
lucky boy. Don't think the ref I think the ref might have just thought, it's 50-50.
Mm.
I don't know what he's playing at going into tackles like that. But I think Rashford now, we're seeing him sort of level out now in his performances. It's kind of, he knows what his identity is now. The Cristiano impression's kind of gone now. It's more so, I'm gonna run in behind. And I'd say maybe 5 out of 10. Okay, actually, wait, that's a bit. That's not nice. I'd say maybe 8 out of 10. Rashford's going to finish one-on-one chances. And yeah, I think he's a great outlet to have. I think apart from Dan James, obviously when he was there, he's probably the only one that will run in behind. Martial does it on occasion, but you can see Rashford is just blistering pace. He's learned how to bend his run really good now. Before, I think a couple of seasons ago, when he used to try and bend his run, he'd be offside maybe like 70% of the time. You can see he's really maturing into a player now. He's actually getting into his stride. And he's a great weapon, a great asset to have coming off the bench, especially when teams are tired, especially when teams are down, their heads are dropped, and especially if teams are terrible as Spurs. So, yeah,
Yeah,
good performance.
it must be said as well that for the goals we scored today, United were very clinical. I mean,
Yeah,
pretty much every one-on-one we scored,
yeah.
even the Ronaldo one when it was offside, like they
Mm-hmm.
rattled it in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a positive to look at it as well. We got a couple of quotes from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer after the game. It's good to be looking at quotes actually after a win, it must be said. So he said, quote, "I've been here 3 years now, and Tuesday's training performance from Edison Cavani was probably the best performance anybody has ever put into a training session here." What do you think of
Ever.
that? Ever.
I think he's Ollie, not now. We don't
Gassing
need
up
this one.
Cavani.
Yeah, I think it's a bit too much, man. I think, yeah, Cavani, but we've seen this from him, though. We've been screaming for him to start and play a few more games. So Ollie's only seeing it now in training. Like, you know what you're going to get with him. Passion, you are going to get that. The desire, you are going to get that. You're going to get 90 minutes of running. You're going to get elbows. You're going to get it all from Cavani. I just think that maybe he's just over egging it a bit. I know he's happy with the result, but we got to keep a cool head. I'd rather if Ollie just went, you know what, good result today. We need to move on to the next and get more good results. Just keep it cool. Don't need these feel good statements. Sorry guys if I'm being a bit negative, but it's Spurs that played terrible. If it was Man City and they had their first 11 and we beat them, then yeah, cool. Ollie can say whatever he wants, but let's just keep our heads. We still got Atalanta because, as you said, Owen, you made a fantastic point. We can go on and lose the next 2 games, and this result will mean nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
The formation change will mean nothing. So, we just got to keep a cool head. Those comments from Solskjaer, yeah, is okay, I suppose, but just keep cool, Ellie, man. Keep cool.
He also said, quote, "The experience of Edison Cavani and Cristiano is massive. We need it. We can't hide. The week has been difficult for all the players. They really stuck at it. Experience counts in situations like this." So again, this kind of reaffirms the point we were just making a little while ago that if you don't think that Ronaldo and Cavani are going to start on, it's difficult one, Tuesday and Saturday, specifically for Cavani, that might be a push for him.
Yeah.
But put it this way, I would say they're definitely starting against City. 100% they will start against City. Yeah. He's basically said at this point, I know that we are in a really difficult situation. I'm looking at my experienced guys. I'm playing them. I'm putting those players in the team that have been there and won it all, whether it's, Varane, Cavani, Ronaldo,
Matic.
Those players are going in. They're bailing me out. They're bailing me out the stuff. So,
I was just going to say, I was watching the game and I thought we played well. But for me, and dare I even say this, dare DJ even say this, I just think that the front two, for as much experience that they have, we lose a lot of speed, especially on like counter-attacks. And I know we're not really set up for the counter-attack like that.
Do you think so, though? Do you think so, though? Because I think, like, even Cristiano Ronaldo at 36, granted, he isn't as fast as he was at 25. Cristiano Ronaldo was rapid. His leg looked like scissors. Let's go like that. It was crazy. But I still think like they're still quick. They're not walking around like Zlatan Ibrahimovic or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're quick, but I just think
Cavani presses.
Yeah, I just think that when you play in sort of like City, at the rate that they move the ball, it's almost telepathic. They're gonna move the ball so quick, and we're gonna be sort of like second to the punch. So I prefer to. I think Rashford is a good option to drop into one of the 2 slots up front, again for that outlet, and he is the outlet. He's the outball. He will make the runs. Ronaldo, from what I've seen, he's lost that yard of pace. Still quick, but he's lost. He's not superhuman anymore. I think that's the best way to say it. He's not superhuman anymore. He's human again. So
I don't know about that. Watch that volley, DJ. Watch that volley.
Just about. He's just about.
Tell me that's not a superhuman volley. I mean, that is technique on another level. I mean, that is
Yeah.
just something else. It really is. Super chat from Kill says, if we win the next game, we are level with City. What's that? What's that, DJ? What's that, DJ? That is fine margins. Fine margins.
And it's true. And it actually
Fine
makes
margins.
Ollie's statement of fine margins actually quite, I kind of get it now. I do get it now. But at the same time, we only got to concentrate on ourselves. We played poor since the season began. Only best performance was Leeds. And apart from that, every single performance has been poor, even though we've come back and whatever. I think today was a very stable performance. I think that's the key word. Very stable performance by the team today. Very
Yeah, I don't
balanced.
think it's our best performance of the season. I don't think
Yeah,
it was better than the Leeds one. I don't
not
think.
at all. Not at all. I think the Leeds one was cut and thrust, attacking football, a
Yeah.
lot of pace. This game was more of a. You could tell it was more tactical, and that's why I liked it. That's why I was happy with today's performance. I watched how we played. You know, defensively we looked really good. Again, some players stood out, some weren't still putting up trees. But I think new system. If this is the first time we played it in 18 months, which it is, I'm hearing, then it can only bode well for the future. It'd be interesting to see if he goes with it against Atalanta.
I think he has to. I think if you'd have said to any United fan before the game, 3-0 and a clean sheet, you know, people would be like, you kidding me? Yes, please. They rip your hand off. And I
Yeah.
think Solskjaer will think that as well. Be thinking, you know, because I think that's what's weird about it, isn't it? Is that we won 3-0. Did we dominate the game? I mean, I think possession was nearly 50-50. I think they just edged possession.
Yeah.
But again, it was kind of, it's difficult because I do think obviously we played better than last week, and it is one of the better performances we've had this season because it's a
Yeah.
3-0 performance. I just can't overlook how poor Spurs were.
Yeah.
I think if you look at it and say, "Oh yeah, we battered them,"
You can't say we battered them. Yeah, it's a
did.
bit.
I guess we did, but they were bad. They were, you know what I mean?
They were
It's
very
difficult.
bad.
It's difficult to analyze that one. A couple more quotes from Ollie. He said he was asked if the result today means that they can move on from the Liverpool game. He said, "Quote: Of course it doesn't. That's always going to be in the history books. One of the darkest days, a dark spot on our CV. But football becomes history so quickly." So you're not running away from the result, it must be said.
Yeah.
You also said the first goal always decides how the game goes. How about that? Said we've got a hard. I'm just glad he hadn't done a Tyson Fury analogy again. That
God.
caused.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
that,
It was corny. It was so corny.
it caused some stuff. There were people that liked it, some people that didn't. He said the first goal always decides how the game goes. We've got a hard week again. Champions League game, then City. We've got to digest this one and be ready for Tuesday. So it's just their typical Ollie answers, really.
Yeah.
If you've watched an Ollie interview, like I said, it's like Football Manager. It's literally Football Manager. Pump fists. I believe in you.
Yeah, a lot of his interviews are generic. You could kind of make up what he's going to say before he says it. I said it last time. I said they've prepped him very well for interviews. Very well for interviews. He gives you sort of like the blanket statement, and that's his answer. It's very, very blanket statements he makes, and very obvious statements. Do you know what I mean? So, I just think that I'm just thinking because I'm thinking towards sort of like Atalanta, and I'm just thinking he'll make changes. I reckon he's gonna have to because
it's just time.
Maybe Dalot coming in for Wan-Bissaka. I reckon he's gonna definitely need Wan-Bissaka for City. Definitely. So he may.
I could see the opposite. I could maybe see Wan-Bissaka maybe playing, but Shaw not playing, and maybe Tellez as a left wing back.
Yeah, Tellez maybe. Would he keep McFred? So one of them gets injured. Oh, God forbid, he does want to choose Donny. So I reckon.
Yeah, I know. Well, Pogba. Pogba can play in Champions League.
Yeah.
Where does he fit into that side?
I think he fits in the pivot. I say you take out one of Fred. I'd say take out McTominay and make Pogba do the McTominay role, kind of like the box to box, trying to get forward a bit, the passing from deep, and let Fred again do sort of like the defensive work, getting in the players' faces. I think if they can get that, as long as you get someone that can kind of help Bruno in the middle with the technical aspect of the game, I'm happy with that. That's what I was a little bit worried about if we go against City, for example. Fred and McTominay, they're not McTominay's more technical than Fred, but they're not the best
They'll play
technically
against City
gifted
as
guys.
well. McFred are playing 100% against Manchester
Do,
City. No
do,
doubt about it.
do you know what? Do you know what I want as a United fan, Owen? Right? I don't mind having a player that's gonna sort of provide energy for the middle of the park, but I just want one game at least for us to put our technically sound players in the middle of the park versus cities or versus Liverpools or whatever, and just go at them. Like we're always trying to make sort of accommodations for the opposition team. They're not worrying about McFred. They're not. They're literally not. They're not thinking, oh God, McFred's playing tomorrow. Like they're not. They're not worried at all. And we're always worried about what other teams are doing. I hope we can one day just get to a point where you can have Donny van der Beek sitting in the number 6. Actually, he's never going to be because he's going to go January. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, January.
Yeah, like more of a technically gifted player in there. But for now, I think Atalanta game probably see maybe 3 changes to the starting 11. Nothing more than that. Doesn't think it was a change it too much. About 3 changes maybe.
Yeah, like I said, I think maybe you might swap out one of the wing backs. I think maybe Cavani came off. I don't know if he was necessarily injured, but he was holding his hamstring a little bit. I'd be surprised if he played 3 games in the space of like 7 days.
Rashford will come in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Greenwood will be used as the sub. That Rashford sub.
Yeah, I think Ronaldo will play. I still think Ronaldo will play. Bruno will play because they play games.
Yeah.
Pogba will play as well, and maybe that's what we go with. I don't know. It's an interesting one because it doesn't just because we wanted there doesn't make Tuesday any less important.
Yeah,
it's still 3 games to turn it around, right? I don't go back to Football Manager. I've been sacked on Football Manager before. Not afraid to admit it, guys. Right?
Yeah.
And so I've had the thing when they go, look, you've got this amount of games, you have to hit these amount of points. If you win your first game and then you lose your next 2, you're still getting shit canned. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You're still being off.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make it any less important on Tuesday, does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And I'm just kind of looking at because one of the viewers put super chat and was saying, "Oh, are you using the same players?" And you're right, he is using the same players. It leads me to sort of like speculation time, right? What is going on with that other set of players that Oli just refuses to use? I wouldn't say Sancho's a part of that group. I think the system change, which we discussed before, has attributed to maybe Sancho not starting as many games as we thought he would. So Sancho, I'll kind of put him on the side. But in terms of, Martial, Bay, Matic, well, not really Matic.
In a library.
Yeah. Those players.
Shut up.
Exactly, right? Those players, though, like, what have they done? Bailly, like, what's happened? There's something gone on. Something must have gone on. Has there been a fight?
I'm not like an advocate for someone like Juan Mata to play or whatever. But like, can you just imagine? I forgot sometimes he's part of Man United. He's just on a contract.
And you know what? And you know what? I'm not afraid to say it. I think there's times in the season when Bruno was having a shocker, an absolute shocker, and I wouldn't have minded Mata coming on in the 70th minute or 65th minute.
That would never happen. That would never ever happen.
This is the problem with our manager. Yeah.
I had a mate of mine message me in the game, like first 25 minutes or whatever, going, tell you what, Bruno's having a bit of a stinker today. And like, I always get messages like that, people going, Bruno's not playing well today. And I always say he will play. I mean, I know he came off, 65 minutes, the game was over.
Yeah.
But like, he can have the worst game. You keep him on though, because boom, he can just do a pass like that. Ronaldo, volley, goal.
Yeah.
That's what he'll do. That's what he'll do.
Edge of the box, world class in terms of his assists. His assist rate's crazy at the moment. Like since he's joined Manchester United, his assist rate and goals is nuts. And obviously he came from the Portuguese league, so I was a little bit skeptical of can he replicate that in the Premier League. But we're seeing it. We're seeing it in front of us. He might not light up the whole 90 minutes, but he only needs about 5 minutes, 2 minutes at most to set something on a plate for one of our players.
And the stats are there. Here's is it goal contributions, like assists and goals? They're like second or maybe first since he came into the league. It's nuts. It's nuts. And I know people will say sometimes that like he does have a bad game and he does offer nothing, but he's almost like a luxury player, isn't he? I guess, in the sense that just even if he's playing badly, I think the one positive is that there has been certainly an element of pressure taken off of him this season, hasn't there? You know what I mean? Because like last season, it was just like, or even the season before that, it was Bruno.
Yeah,
it was the Bruno team. He had to score all the goals, take all the everything, and now that's not necessarily the case. So I do think the pressure's off him a little bit. And
Yeah.
maybe that's why people look at him sometimes and they'll go, he's not having a good game because he's not really the focal point anymore.
Yeah.
He's not the center of attention. Maybe that's why people go, oh, he's not having the best game today because you just don't see him as much.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do agree with some people when it's like you can't take him off. You can't.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
you can't.
I mean, it's crazy because there's times when, and I'll be honest with you guys, like when he's played, there's times when I'm like, I think he should come off. And then literally within 5 minutes, he makes the assist that gets us the goal, or he creates a massive chance, or he has a shot on goal himself, or scores. And I'm like, see, if I was the manager, I would have taken him off. That wouldn't have happened. So I probably would have lost the game.
Yeah. Exactly.
Literally.
Super chat from Red Baron says, that's 5 more years of Ollie then. Spurs are rubbish. This won't last. I'll watch the football, but I can't watch the press conferences. You don't have to watch the press conferences, Red Baron, but you can watch the press conference reactions right here on United View. And you can subscribe and like the video as well. No, look, like I said before, do I think that today necessarily changes anything? In the big picture? No, I don't think it does. No. I do think that Ollie's I will give him credit in the sense that, and not loads, because I think it was a fairly logical decision, but for changing it in terms of the system today, he had to. Yeah. Like he had to, because only a fool would have stuck with 4-2-3-1, because that would have literally been the definition of insanity. Doing the same things over and over again, expecting different outcomes. If he had played 4-2-3-1 today, maybe not put the same starting 11, but made 4-2-3-1, everyone would be like, dude, this guy wants to get sacked. Yeah. Like, because why would you do that? Anyone worth their salt would be like, I got to try something different. I've got 3 games to save my job. I'm going to throw something at the wall, see if it sticks like spaghetti. Yeah. And it did. So I'll give him credit for doing that. It's just going to be a case of whether that can persist now into these other games, because even someone like Pep Guardiola must be looking at that game today being like, right, I kind of thought we were probably going to be playing 4-2-3-1 Manchester United. Mm-hmm. Now I know that we're not. I mean, it's. I guess it's the next point. Do you think that Man City look at that now, being like, okay, we're going to be playing a different style of Manchester United? Do you think that plays into City's hands at all? I mean, what do you make of that?
No, I don't think it plays into their hands. I think they're going to have to work that. Well, Pep's going to work his tactical magic around that, but I do think it makes us look a little bit more organized. I do think it actually works for the players that we have in terms of the personnel we have in our team. And defensively today, we looked good. We looked better. And I think that was the point of today. 7 outfield defensive-minded players. I'm adding McTominay in there, yes. Even though he does the run forward occasionally, I'm going to say we had 7 basically defensive players on the pitch and had 3 attackers. So I think that team that started today will start against City. 100 million%. Unless there's an injury, that's the team that will play City. Ronaldo, Cavani up top.
And you said 7 defensively or defensive-minded players, if you will. That will turn into a 7 next weekend.
Yeah.
Because when City have a lot of possession, and they will, it's going to be a back 7. This is an interesting thing that Ollie said as well after the game when he was talking to Sky. He said, quote, excellent. In the first 6 or 7 minutes, we let them have too much of the ball, but the experience came through. It was the oldest team I've picked for Manchester United, and it was the time for it. Basically, do you reckon he's saying, look, these older, experienced guys, next 2 or 3 games, I'm sorry, Jadon Sancho. I'm sorry, Rashford. I'm sorry, Greenwood. I've got my old guys. I'm sticking to them. They're the guys that are going to save me my job. Do you reckon that's going to be the case?
Yeah, I think he will. Because, he's dealing with experienced professionals that have been there and done that, and who are in their primes or just slowly coming out of their prime. I would say that, again, I would say he needs to look at each team that comes to us individually and plan accordingly, because I do think that we do lack. I do think we lack a lot of speed, man. I do. Today was good, but we lacked a lot of speed. The counter-attack wasn't there. And against some of these teams who have those fast defensive players, strong, powerful defensive players, sometimes you're going to need your younger guys who are a bit fresher, a bit quicker. But we'll see. We will see. I do think that Cavani and Ronaldo are going to cause City a lot of problems, especially if we can get Bruno in the game. And with no Pogba. So, we're just going to have to go with what we've got and see what we can do. I reckon this is an early, very, very early prediction, but you heard it first here. 1-1 for me against City.
Do you think then, if you saying that we're struggling for pace, then would you not be surprised if, say, he goes with Ronaldo and Cavani in the week against Atalanta, and maybe Cavani comes out for a Rashford or someone like that against Man City? Then just for, oh, we're going to have to be playing on the break. Maybe I'll go with that.
Yeah, yeah. For me, and I hate to say it, it's quite difficult because Ronaldo scored today. For me, I would start Cavani over Cristiano Ronaldo. I would. He gives me a little bit more of what I
But you don't
personally
have to.
like.
But you don't have to,
Yeah,
mate.
I know that. But in terms of, I think Rashford is a secret weapon, man. He's gold every time. If you can hit that ball in that channel, he's gold, man. Every time. It's kind of, if we're getting pressured as well, and we need to sort of relieve the pressure. Lindelof and Rashford. That. Yeah, over the top, mate. Yep, over the top, and we're in. Do you know what I mean? I think and I think Ronaldo can do it, but I think the play would have to be built up a little bit slower. But again, his options, and it just depends on what Ollie's going to do. I think Ollie's going to say, right, this is my team. I'll change when needed in terms of injuries, minutes, stuff like that. But this is his core team, and we're gonna Greenwoods and Rashfords and Mas Martials and that guy.
Yeah,
We're
don't
not
say
gonna,
it. Shh.
yeah, we're not gonna see. They're gonna miss a few games, especially if this team starts getting results, which Ollie desperately needs.
Mm.
So we'll see.
Rashford was speaking to Sky after the game, and he said, I think, talk about Solskjaer is prepared for the team we're playing against. We all have to buy into what the manager tells us to do. Today helped us come away with the 3 points. That's quite an interesting quote, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
Basically, because there's a lot of different ways you could look into that. When he's saying we all have to buy into what the manager tells us to do, does that not imply that then they haven't been?
yeah,
Or there are
yeah,
some people that aren't?
yeah, and that's what I mean. We're good at reading between the lines here at United View. So what he's saying there is basically some players haven't bought into Ollie,
Yeah, they're not buying it.
or there's been some rift within the last month or so, or maybe
Yeah.
2 months. But today, and it showed. When Rashford scored, he screamed at the crowd, "Come on!" It meant a lot to him. You can see, I can actually tell the squad's quite divisive with Ollie. I can tell, and it shows that because
Take a
there's
look
a
at the
bunch.
bench.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Eric Bailly's got his head down like that.
when you look at the bench, it's probably a bunch of players that have voiced their opinion that feel they've been treated unfairly because there has been a lot of unfair stuff going on with the squad. We've seen a lot of favourites being picked, but slowly we're moving past that now in terms of, because it's, as Fergie said, squeaky bum time for Ollie. He's got to get results. Like, if he doesn't, I still feel it's not going to do anything. I still think that they feel they need a better manager because no board wants to see the likes of Martial, Sancho, that guy, and the rest of those players sitting on the bench who cost a lot of money not playing football. And we're hinging our hopes on a 36-year-old and a 34-year-old to get us out of the shit.
Very
So,
good 36 and 34-year-old day.
Yep. Admittedly, yeah. But I think we're looking at the other teams. They've got either, young up-and-coming strikers or strikers in their prime right now. So we're at a very different stage.
Super chat from Red Baron says, if Harry Kane was not English, he would be getting slaughtered by the British press and pundits. You know what, Red Baron? I think that is a very fair point,
Fair
and
point,
I don't mean to turn this into like, backing British players and all this kind of stuff. But make no mistake about it.
Mm-hmm.
If Cristiano Ronaldo had been playing as poor as Harry Kane, you don't think that people will be going on Talk Sport and all this kind of stuff going, I don't know why Man United brought him back, or he can't keep up to the pace of the league, or he's too old, his legs have gone. This isn't the old Cristiano Ronaldo. We saw it before he even kicked the ball this season, let alone when he's been scoring goals in terms of like a volley and everything else today, scoring last-minute winners in the Champions League twice, by the way. And people still have the nerve to be like, I just don't know if he can do it anymore. You don't. I mean, why are you watching then? And then what are you watching? And Red Baron's right. Like, if any other player was playing like that wasn't Harry Kane, and I don't mean that to like single out Harry Kane, but it's true. There is just look.
It's very
the
true.
The sky's blue, and there is a double standard when it comes to British players.
Yeah, it's very true. And if that, as you said, if it was Ronaldo, in the papers, in social media, is he as good as we thought? And a lot of ex-players were coming out saying they would take Kane over Ronaldo.
Yeah, exactly.
Look now.
Why are they buying Cristiano Ronaldo? Why aren't they buying Harry Kane? That's why.
Exactly. There you go. But look, Ronaldo's that trump card, man. He's world class, number one or number two, depending on how you want to look at it. Best player in the world and potentially the best player of all time that ever kicked a ball. So, he's going
Exactly.
to score goals like that, and that's going to continue happening throughout the season.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, irrespective if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's the manager or not, irrespective of if the team's playing well or not, Cristiano Ronaldo is still going to score goals. He scored a goal that was offside last weekend.
Yeah.
That was tight anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even in our shittest performance of the season, he still nearly grabbed a goal.
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
Cristiano Ronaldo does. That pretty much sums him up. What I did want to touch on briefly before we wrap things up about that Rashford quote as well. I wonder how you feel about this, because I have a kind of an opinion on it as a United fan. So he said there that Solskjaer prepares the team for the team that they're playing up against. So basically saying, look, we focus a lot on that team. We adapt the strategy for that team. We set up a way for that team. Do you remember the days, and I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, when Sir Alex Ferguson was the manager, this, that, and the other. But do you remember the days where, because you see it like at Man City and all that kind of stuff now, where you pay a little bit of attention to who you're playing, but it's more of a case of, look, let them worry about us. Let's not worry about them. Okay. Yeah. Do you think with the players that we have, shouldn't we be taking that approach of, well, why are we worrying about Spurs, or why are we worrying about, Sir Alex Ferguson used to just say, look, lads, it's Spurs. Come on. that was the team talk. Roy Keane apparently said, oh, he wasn't that vocal in the dressing room. He just occasionally, a couple of times a year, would turn around and go, guys, we're Man United. Remember that. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
What do you think about that when setting up for other teams, or should they have to be worrying about us instead?
Yeah, I think, you do make exceptions here and there, but I don't think every single team we need to be sort of planning for them specifically. You do. We've seen Fergie make sort of exceptions when it came to sort of, Barcelona, AC Milan.
Yeah.
You make exceptions for those teams. You put in certain special measures. But apart from that, and maybe if it's like a must-win game, like tied with the next top team, in the table, going into sort of the final week of the Premier League, then you make sort of like special arrangements. But for the most part, with this team that we've got, people should be worried about us. And the reality is, at the moment, they're not worried about us. They don't really care. They don't really give a damn, to be fair. And we need to get that respect back. We've lost the respect.
Do you think it comes back after today's performance?
Nah, it will come back if we get a new manager. Yeah, I'm just being honest, guys. Get a new manager in, the respect will come back. We'll be feared again after that.
Well, do you reckon immediately? I think it would. I think it would take some time. I think it'll
take some time, but it just depends kind of what message the new manager would say. Guys, we're not saying Ollie's definitely going. I'm just saying if a new manager came in, I think, and it depends of the stature of the manager. If it, for example, was a Conte and he came in and said, "Look, I've got Ronaldo. I can make these guys play," and he was really bullish about his message, then other opposition managers would look at that and be like, "Oh, okay, guys." Then United wave might be on its way. There might be resurgence, so we need to be prepared.
Every time. That's what. Every time. To be fair, I was. You know what it was? I was looking at the clock. You can see the clock in like the top right hand corner here, and I was seeing that it was getting to like 50 minutes, and I was thinking, man, it's getting to 50 minutes. DJ, look, a fair play. He's holding out. He's holding out for a while, and here he is, back every single time, undefeated. Do you know what the annoying thing is? And again, this is why we were late starting up, is because on the other settings we were going to use, that probably wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen. DJ's dramatic exit. He's got to find a different characteristic. He's got to find a new bit. He's like a comedian going from town to town telling the same jokes. Eventually you're going to run out, DJ. Eventually you've got to find new jokes. You've got to find new material, brother.
I think the viewers will get fed up with me soon. I was looking at that time. I was like, 50 minutes. Ooh.
I was as well. I was thinking, this is new.
This is new.
I'm looking around. I was like, oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. And it happened every time. I'm like, here we go. Just one more thing before we wrap it up. Cristiano Ronaldo spoke after the game, spoke to Sky. He spoke about the pressure that's been on United this week. He said, quote, "It's normal. The club is so big. The criticism is so big. It's always there. It doesn't bother me. I know that one day we are perfect and the other day we are crap. Sometimes life is like that and we have to pass through the bad moments." What do you make of that?
He's telling the truth, man. He's not shying away. And Ronaldo, he's a.
Would you argue that one day we've been perfect this year, though?
No, but I think it was more in sort of an analogy in terms of some days we can be good and then other days we can be crap. I think he was more referencing it to like football in general, not specifically
Yeah.
Manchester United. But you know, and even with him, there's games where he hasn't really played well and then popped up with a goal. So then it begs the question: did he play well? Well, he scored a goal. He scored an important goal. It was a great finish. But did he play well for the 90 minutes? No. And I think, you know what? Maybe as fans, we need to stop looking at players performing perfectly for 90 minutes. I think in a perfect world, that just doesn't happen. I think we need to sort of hold on to kind of, you know, moments FC to an extent. Yeah, because players like Ronaldo are going to have moments. If there's a moment and he scores, great. But I think today what we saw, so to bring it full circle, I think what we saw today was a system that the players look like they're comfortable in playing. Yes, Tottenham are poor, but I think we can build off this going forward. Again, interesting to see what he does for Europe, slightly different football. And yeah, we just need to see. This is Ollie's show now. He's got 2 more games now. Those 2 games, irrespective if we win or lose, he may be gone by after the international break. We don't know. So we're left wondering, just like probably he is at the moment.
Exactly. It's like you know what it's like. You know, like when you're watching a show on Netflix, and you're like, I think I'm getting close to the end of the series here.
Yeah.
And you have a couple look, and you go, I'm about 2 or 3 episodes to go. And you're like, it's gonna get good.
Yeah.
It's gonna get good. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. So something's definitely. So the drama's gonna continue over the course of the next 7 days or so. Super chat from Roddy Ramirez says CR7 brilliant goal and assist. Yeah, not just a goal, an assist for Ronaldo today. So finally, DJ, to wrap it up, obviously 7 days time we got City. Do you think that come the end of the Manchester City results, so in 7 days time, do you think we'll be talking about how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come through this with flying colours, or do you think we'll be talking about going into the international break and saying that might be the end for Ole?
Ah, man.
Save the tough ones for the end, mate.
You know what? You got me in my... Wait, let me do my thinking face.
Yeah, like the Frozen one the other day. That freaked me out.
So I was just thinking.
I thought again. I was like, I knew you were doing it then, and then I still thought, oh, it's actually Frozen when he did it.
It's actually Frozen when he did it.
Yeah. I thought, oh, what a coincidence! It froze when he was doing the Frozen face.
Yeah. No, you know what?
Just notch.
Just to sort of like finish off with the Ollie thing, I do think it's tough because I know these players. Well, his core group of players, his friends, I should say, that he trusts.
Experienced lads.
Yeah. The players that he trusts, they're going to play for him. And if they play for him with this new formation, you know, it's a bit of confidence. We beat Tottenham. Maybe we can say that, but it might not even mean anything. He could beat City and the board say, thank you for your time, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Thank you. Bye. Goodbye. Here's the door. So we don't know. We don't know what the parameters are. We don't know if it's a definite after his 3 games, no matter what, he's going, or it hinges on these 3 games, or what is 2 wins and 1 loss acceptable? Is us losing? I think the Champions League is key. If we lose to Atalanta, then I think they are more onus of he's gone. Personally,
I feel like we're in purgatory right now. We're waiting on judgment.
Yep, purgatory.
We're waiting on judgment. That's what we are right now, because it's a 3-0 victory today. That I don't know if many people saw 3-0 coming, but look, make no mistake, we lose against Atalanta, the atmosphere is very different. And we go into that Man City game once again being like, here we go. So on the flip side, we beat Atalanta. We'll go, tell you what, bounce back. 2 victories against 2 decent sides. City have lost their last couple of games. You never know. So what's that, guys? Fine margins.
Fine margins, man.
Fine margins, that's what it is. Exactly. But look, guys, be sure to smash a like on the video. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Of course, Flex was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today. So he's going to be outside the ground talking to all the fans. They're going to come up at some point this evening. Tomorrow as well, considering we played on a Saturday, tomorrow will be full view day. Easy for me to say, full view day, which is always a lot of fun. So it'll be interesting to see what everyone makes of that. Obviously, Flex, KG, myself, DJ, maybe Cam as well. So it's going to be very interesting. And obviously Tuesday, Atalanta, and then next Saturday, Manchester Derby. So the games keep coming thick and fast. So does the content. So be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Plenty of content to come. Me and DJ will speak for you again very, very soon.